Agile Practice Guide, summarized and read by Uday C. Santakumar. Introduction to Agile Guide. Welcome to Agile Practice Guide. This guide was developed as a collaborative effort by the Project Management Institute and Agile Alliance. The members of the core writing team who developed this practice guide includes volunteers from both organizations, drawing on subject matter expertise from a broad range of current practitioners and leaders from a diverse range of background beliefs and cultures. This practical guide provides practical guidance geared towards project leaders and team members adapting to an agile approach in planning and executing projects. While our core writing team recognizes there is a staunch support to use predictive approaches and conversely, passion around shifting to an agile mindset, values, and principles, this practice guide covers a practical approach to project agility. This practice guide represents a bridge to understanding the pathway from a predictive approach to an agile approach. In fact, there are similar activities between the two, such as planning, that are handled differently but occur in both environments. Our core writing team used an agile mindset to collaborate and manage the development of this first edition of the practice guide. As technology and culture changes, future updates and refinement to the practice guide will reflect current approaches. Our core team adopted a more informal, relaxed writing style for this practice guide than is typical for PMI standards. This guide incorporates a new elements such as tips, sidebars, and case studies to better illustrate key points and concepts. Our team intends for this change to make this practice guide more readable and user-friendly. This practice guide goes beyond addressing the use of Agile in computer software development industry because Agile has expanded into non-software development environments. Manufacturing, education, healthcare, and other industries are becoming Agile in varying degrees, and this use beyond software is within the scope of this practice guide. Sidebar note: Agile-based learning. Education is a prime and a fertile ground to expand Agile practices beyond software development. Teachers in middle schools, high schools, and universities around the world are beginning to use Agile to create a culture of learning. Agile techniques are used to provide focus on prioritizing competing priorities, face-to-face interactions, meaningful learning, self-organizing teams, and incremental and/or iterative learning that exploit the imagination are all Agile principles that can change the mindset in the classroom and advance educational goals. So why an Agile practice guide and why now? Project teams have used Agile techniques and approaches in various forms for at least several decades. The Agile Manifesto expressed definitive values and principles of Agile as the use of Agile gained substantial momentum. Today, project leaders and teams find themselves in an environment disrupted by exponential advances in technology and demand from customers for more immediate delivery of value. Agile techniques and approaches effectively manage disruptive technologies. In addition, the first principle of Agile places customer satisfaction as the highest priority and is key in delivering products and services that delight customers. Rapid and transparent customer feedback loops are readily available with the widespread use of social media. Therefore, in order to stay competitive and relevant, organizations can no longer be internally focused, but rather need to focus outwardly to the customer experience. Disruptive technology. Disruptive technology is especially enabled by the transition of cloud computing. Companies across the globe are leveraging the model for quick and cheap access to computing resources and to gain entry into traditional markets. Cloud computing requires a reduced upfront payment, but is paid over time via a subscription service, based upon a pay-as-you-go or pay-what-you-use model. Updated applications, infrastructures, and platforms are released into the cloud in an iterative, incremental fashion, keeping the pace with the improvement of technology and evolving customer demand. Disruptive technologies are rapidly changing the playing field by decreasing the barrier to entry. More mature organizations are increasingly prone to being highly complex and potentially slow to innovate and lag behind in delivering new solutions to their customers. These organizations find themselves competing with smaller organizations and startups that are able to rapidly produce products that fit customer needs. This speed of change will continue to drive large organizations to adopt an Agile mindset in order to stay competitive and keep their existing market share. The Agile Practice Guide is project-focused and addresses project lifecycle selection, implementing Agile, and organizational considerations for Agile projects. Organizational change management is essential for implementing or transforming practices, but Since organizational change management, OCM, is a discipline within itself, it is outside the scope of this practice guide. Those seeking a guidance in OCM may refer to Managing Change in Organizations, a practice guide. Additional items that are in the scope and out of scope of this practice guide is listed in the next slide. In scope, implementing agile approaches at a project or a team level, coverage of most popular agile approach as listed in the industry surveys, suitability factor to consider when choosing an agile approach and or practice, mapping agile to PMBOK guide processes and knowledge areas, discussion on the use of agile beyond software development, guidance, techniques and approaches to consider when implementing agile in project or organizations, definitions of generally accepted terms. Out of scope, implementing agile throughout the organization or creating agile programs, coverage of niche approaches, company-specific method or incomplete lifecycle techniques, recommending or endorsing a particular approach or practice, change or modification to PMBOK guide processes and or knowledge areas, removal of software industry influence on agile approaches. Note that software is included in this practice guide even though the use of agile is growing in many other industries beyond software. Prescriptive step-by-step instructions on how to implement agile in projects or organization, new terms and or definition. This practice guide is for project teams who find themselves in a messy middle ground between predictive and agile approaches, who are trying to address rapid innovation and complexity, and who are dedicated to the team's improvement. This practice guide provides useful guidance for successful projects that deliver business value to meet customer expectations and needs. Thus concluding Chapter 1.